This oh my god, this video is too long. This video is too long and people are not going to watch.
Welcome to Gossip Cafe.
Dumela Chomi, welcome back to Gossip Cafe. Igama lami okay. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning Savi, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Before we jump straight into this video, I just want to tell you that I've got my aircon on. So you might hear a blowing sound on my background, but I'm quite sure that you can hear me clear from my mic. So if you hear any airy stuff going on my background, it's because of my aircon. Gabanda in Cape Town, it is cold. Another thing that I need to clearly state on this video before we jump into it, I just want to say anything that I'm about to say on this video is based purely on my own judgment, purely on my own observation, and purely on anything that was happening around me, such as content creators who were reporting about this story, such as things that we have read already about the whole Thabo Bester and Dr. Nandi's story. So this video is all about Thabo Bester's childhood and how he grew up. The things that we experience when we are young and we are still growing, our brains are developing psychologically, the things that we see in our environment, such as in our household and our communities, are the things that shape us as adults. So sometimes you see people that had a very dark, traumatic and criminality life in their childhood. You see them doing all the things that I cannot even put around my brain. How do they come up and do all these things, like such as killing people, raping, defrauding people, all these scamming things, and all of those things are the things that might be propelled by our childhood. So everything that I'm saying here, it is not based on professional facts, which is psychology professional facts. It is based on my own observations, because I never sat with Thabo Bester and diagnosed him with anything. And also bear in mind that I'm not saying Thabo Bester is innocent in this whole thing. I'm not saying Thabo Bester shouldn't take responsibility of his own action, and I'm not saying Thabo Bester shouldn't face the consequences of his actions. I'm just saying this video is just for educational purposes, and also on top of it, we have to connect the dots on how these childhood things that are happening around us might propel some of the things that we do when we are old. So I hope you enjoy this video and do subscribe. Make sure that you're subscribing. Make sure that you're subscribing. I know this intro is long. Please enjoy this video. Let's hit it. Unfortunately, Thabo Bester was born into a world of darkness. His existence was marked by tragedy and crime. Her mom was 16 years old, walking from a place where she was visiting a sister. You know, it was the 80s, it was during apartheid. The sister might have been working at a bus's place in the suburbs and stuff like that, and it was very exciting for young people or young girls or young boys to go and visit their siblings somewhere. And at that time, you were able to walk obviously very far to actually get into the place that you were getting. She was only 16 years old. While she was walking, obviously, at that time, there was a car that was driving to the direction that she was going to. And this car had a guy inside who happened to be a Pakistani shopkeeper or shop owner. So guys, anything that I'm saying on this video, you must take it with a pinch of a grain of salt, because obviously the information that we got from the actual victim, which is Thabo Bester's mom, was not complete. I think it was because of language barrier, or it was because she doesn't remember much of the ordeal that happened. It was in the 80s, so imagine it is 2023 right now, and she's definitely older now, and the life took its toll. So obviously this guy offering this young lady a lift, and this young lady agrees to take a drive with this man because obviously this man is going to the same direction, and I can assume that it is a local tuck shop, or it is a local shop, a Pakistani shop, which is easier to say, okay, I know this person from the community, they have a shop, or they own a shop, or they actually are working at a certain shop, so it is safe for me to travel with them because there's nothing that will happen. Little did he know that this is going to create a monster. But unfortunately you cannot say children are monsters, right? Yeah, right. So while they were driving, obviously this guy started doing sexual advances to Thabo Bester's mom, and at that time, as I said, she was just 16 years old. That is a child and an older man trying to get a chance to sleep with this 16-year-old. It would seem like it is a normal thing, but it is definitely not a normal thing. So she was actually brutalized to actually get pregnant with Thabo Bester. So unfortunately this guy was able to get his way to brutally rape Thabo Bester's mom, and after raping Thabo Bester's mom, he actually tried to kill Thabo Bester's mom. He tried to throw Thabo Bester's mom in front of a moving car. It's either in front of a moving car, or he threw her out of a moving car, or of a speeding car. We're not clear about those details, and everything that I'm saying here is alleged because we don't have a proof of all those things that Thabo Bester's mom claimed on the video. So fast forward 9 months later, or so before 9 months later, Thabo Bester was fortunately alive. She did not get killed by the whole ordeal of getting thrown in front of a car or getting thrown out of a moving car. She survived the ordeal, and obviously this guy was trying to kill her so that there won't be any evidence, or there won't be anyone who is telling the police that they got raped by him. So fortunately this young lady, 16-year-old, was just injured, and she was able to recover from her injuries. But little did she know after this ordeal that she was pregnant, and she was pregnant with Thabo. It was between 1983 and 1986 when Thabo was born on the 16th of June. We don't have a specific year whereby Thabo was actually born, so I'll say between 1983 and 1986 as the sources say. So this child is born. She was between 16 and 17 at that time when Thabo Bester was born. You are young, and it is in the 80s. Your parents will for sure that they will tell you that you must go get some work because you need to raise this child. So 1 year later, after Thabo was born, the mom left Thabo with her parents, and that's when they started raising Thabo Bester. Her mom went to work, and obviously at that time she would come back maybe certain times to come and see the child and bring some food and all of those things. We don't know much about that period. So at 4 years old, now Thabo Bester is 4 years old. At 4 years old, Thabo Bester was found with a stash of money, a lot of money, by his grandfather. So you know, in the hood or in the black communities, when you've got money at that age, they had your parents or your guardians or your grandparents, definitely they will have to know where did you get that money, because you're 4 years old, you didn't win lotto, you are not working, and you are not gambling, obviously. So the grandfather took him to the neighbor because Thabo Bester told them a story that the neighbor gave him the money. So the grandparent or the granddad took Thabo Bester to the neighbor, and the neighbor did not even know that the money was missing. So Thabo lied about the whole thing. The neighbor did not give him the money. Fast forward a year later, Thabo now is 5 years old. Thabo Bester, or the community tavern owner, confronted the parents or the grandparents of Thabo Bester at that time, because Thabo Bester confessed that he stole a bottle that was full of coins. You know, when you've got a tavern or your home or your parents own a tavern and or a tuck shop, there's that bottle that has got a change, like it's like they're saving it. And it was the 80s. The banks in South Africa were there, but they were mostly focusing on white people at that time and all of those things. So we believed in stashing money under a carpet or under the bed, inside the trunk and all of those things. So there was that bottle of change, and Thabo Bester had to help himself with the whole glass of change. Fast forward, guys, Thabo Bester is now 17 years old. Already he served his time in prison because he was charged with housebreaking or house burglary and stealing from one of the community members. And in 2004, Thabo Bester was released from prison, and he was young at that time, still under the watch of his mom. As we all know, the mom was working at that time. The mom had to leave Thabo Bester with the grandparents once again. We all know after that thing, after the whole thing, Thabo Bester's criminality elevated to the highest heights. In 2005, at that time, social media is a thing. I remember we were having about Mixit, about To Go. I think To Go was already there. I don't know. I'm not sure, but please let me know in the comment section if in 2005 Umexit was there. Everything was just popping at that time because obviously the phones, they were coming out with the phones that were a bit advanced, since you remember we had long time ago, we had those Ericsson with ama dun and dun. At that time, Thabo Bester started to elevate to the higher heights. Thabo Bester was now going as an international scout agency, which he was recruiting models and stuff like that. So that can tell you one of the red flags. International modeling agency or scouting for international agency. I mean, those are red flags. Thabo Bester is not an international, and obviously not everyone knew about that because there was no Facebook and stuff like that to create awareness. You know, sometimes social media is definitely a tool for us to know what is going on around us, even though it can be toxic. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of this camera if social media was not there, because YouTube is social media, because all of these news, most of the times we get them from social media if we didn't go and research ourselves. So as I said, in 2005, social media is becoming big and all of those things. So now Thabo is starting to lie and getting all these aspiring models that he's an international scout man. And obviously, you are young and you want to become a model. And at that time, guys, Obo Tyra Banks, Abo Naomi Campbell, and all these beautiful, long, statuesque models were out there, and you can see them on the magazine. You wanted to be seen on the magazine, on TV and all of those things, and it would be easy for someone to con you and say that, okay honey, I am a modeling scout agent from America, from international countries and stuff like that. So they were definitely getting conned by Thabo Bester because they had to pay a certain amount in order for them to be taken pictures or something like that. And obviously when time goes on, Thabo Bester elevated to another height. As I said, this thing is like a staircase. It's going up and up and up. So other ladies would even get an opportunity to be actually invited by Thabo Bester. When he invited those ladies, he would gain trust first, obviously, before he invite them, gain trust. And these ladies would trust him that he is a legitimate agency or international scout agency. And they would meet with Thabo Bester, and Thabo Bester would actually rob them of their possession. Anything that you have, he would rob it. So it is not only a con artist who's scamming you to actually give him money so that he can market you as a model, he also was stealing things from you. So you would be left traumatized. You gave him money. You also got all your stuff stolen violently. So that's how the guy was. So fast forward, now it is 2009, Thabo Bester's stuff are coming out and he was apprehended. So at that time he was charged for fraud and all of those things, or stealing and stuff like that, and he was sentenced to 3 years. So after 3 years, or rather sorry, he did not even serve the full 3 years. He was released, or he was released when I think he served only 2 years, and he was released on parole. That was in 2009. So shortly after Thabo Bester was released in 2011, now his own thing, his own con business and his own criminal business is like elevated once again. It is in the new level, whereby he was now forging papers so that he would be able to gain access or to get chartered flights. Guys, do you know how expensive chartered flights are? And do you know how many steps you must take in order for you to get chartered flights? This guy is very intelligent, but the intellectual in him is directed in a very wrong direction. So at that time he was forging papers, was forging payments, and he was flying these models to any other destinations in South Africa. I would think in other areas as well. And when they got there, he was robbing them and all of those things, and after that selling the belongings and selling the whole camera equipment. And that is expensive. Camera equipment is expensive. I mean, I'm sitting in front of a camera that is costing more than I can even imagine. I mean, the lens alone is more than 30,000 rands. So you can just imagine the ones that he was using were professional cameras, which can cost anything that is over 100 to 200,000 to even 500,000. Camera equipment is very expensive. So he was working, and also obviously he was definitely lying to these people, or lying to these people that were giving him this equipment in order for him to con these artists. At that time they believed that he is actually an international scouting agency who is trying to work with them. In 2011 he was actually nabbed. That was by the end of 2011, whereby obviously he did a lot of things already, and already he raped 2 women, and if I'm not mistaken, he also killed 1 woman at that time. And I spoke about this woman on my previous video, so you would know. If you didn't know anything about this one, which I doubt that you don't know anything about this one, you would know Thabo Bester killed his own girlfriend, or his own girlfriend that he said this was his girlfriend, which I don't believe. I think it was one of the ladies that he was actually trying to con, as he is a con artist. So just to be clear on this one, at the end of 2011, actually Thabo Bester was nabbed because he raped, or there were investigation allegation of rape, which 2 women were opened the case that Thabo Bester raped them and stuff like that. But Thabo later was released because they had to conduct all this investigation, which is so frustrating that you have to release a criminal in order for you to investigate. Why don't you say, okay, you will sit inside and then we will investigate? Because already Thabo Bester had a criminal record, or had a track record that says he is definitely a criminal. I'm not saying police must just say, okay, you are the criminal and stuff like that, you must stay inside. Already they should have established that Thabo Bester is dangerous for society, right? I don't know, guys. You please tell me, please talk to me. Shortly after he was released, which is during the time that the police were investigating, Thabo Bester actually went to buy a BMW car, and that's where he met an aspiring model and a saleswoman, Unomfundo Kyulu. So at that time, obviously they're meeting for the first time and whatever, and Thabo Bester is also posing as an international scout modeling agency, whereby he actually spoke to Unomfundo about it, and Unomfundo was like, what? I am also an aspiring model, and definitely you would say something about that. Even though you are at work, you are in a different career or job role or whatever like that. If you are an aspiring actor or model or whatever, if someone is saying, okay, I am an agency or agent or whatever, so I can help you with that. So he tried by all means, obviously, to win his heart or to win her heart in order for him to date Unomfundo. We all know what was the reason behind that already, because Thabo Bester is just a conniving person. Thabo Bester is also a serial rapist, including a killer. So obviously Unomfundo caught some feelings, wakhetha sana, wakhetha, and was super nice and all of those things, and obviously she was in love and stuff like that. Thabo Bester is very easy on the eye, and I would say he is very easy on the mouth, because obviously he conned a lot of people that you would believe that he's able to speak. He is able to speak his way up, right? To con his way up, whereby you are not even suspecting that this person is a con artist. So they dated for like a couple of months or something like that. They dated for a bit, like for a short while, not for that long, for a short while, whereby they flew to Cape Town at some point. That's when things were really getting bad. And at that time, I think, not on my side psychologically, I think Thabo would have been a serial killer if he was not caught. And I feel like he should stay behind bars, because this is serial killer tactics. This is serial killer tendencies. Yes, she is a serial rapist, but I think there is a serial killer tactics in the whole thing. So they went to Cape Town, and then they were in this B&B. Obviously, I think they had a commotion or something like that, a disagreement or whatever, and he stabbed Unomfundo to death. That's when he got arrested for the murder of Unomfundo and for the rape of these two women. Thabo Bester was sentenced to life in prison with a possibility of a parole after 25 years. We all know where that ended up. So the moment that if you have just checked all the steps that we have taken till this far, you can see that the trauma that he suffered and all of those things, it is already playing out on the whole ordeal. Thabo Bester is a serial rapist, and Thabo Bester was conceived through rape. So also I think it is the way that things are hidden in our black communities. On top of it, sometimes if they are not hidden, you deal with a mother, maybe a mother who is not present in your life, and when she comes in your life or when you see her, maybe she's drunk and all of those things, or the community is always telling you that you were conceived through rape. And obviously the children, sometimes they ask you, where is your father? Or the children are telling you that your mother was raped. Your mother was raped, that's why you were born. So all those things accumulate, or all those things, they actually shift something in a children's developing brain, and whereby you end up doing stuff. And I would tell you right now, I don't know if Thabo was actually put under observation by a psychiatrist and all of those things to see if there's any other things or underlying mental illnesses that he's suffering. Because I can tell you, for all the things that Thabo Bester is doing, I feel like there is a mental illness that is happening with this guy. There is definitely mental problems that are going on. Could be anything, schizophrenia, or I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of mental illness that you can suffer from. But also, I think the childhood trauma propelled him to do all these things. We can see that he resents the resentment of women in all those things, because obviously as much as he was conning the companies and all of those things, the main acts in his ordeals are women. The main things that were happening within his deeds are women. It is also, I would also say, maybe it was caused by the fact that the mother was not there in his life. If you have watched the interview of his mother, you would know the mother was talking about how he never raised Thabo Bester and how she actually only saw Thabo Bester on TV because Thabo Bester was living with the parents, and I can assume that at some point they lost contact with each other, or Thabo Bester's mother was not visiting Thabo Bester at all at home, because how can you say you have never seen Thabo Bester in years if Thabo Bester is your child? So that means that child hates women because he thought that the parent or the mom did not like him. And if he knew what happened to her mom, because obviously I think somehow if the mother was drunk at some point, or the children in the streets or drunkards in the streets were telling this person that your mother was raped when he conceived you, all those things will definitely make some monster in you. As I said at the beginning of this video, I am not talking on behalf of professionals, on behalf of psychiatrists, on behalf of psychologists. I'm just based my opinions based on the ordeals that happen, or the shenanigans that happen throughout, and the trauma, the darkness that Thabo was born into, and comparing with the things that I've read about traumatic upbringing and traumatic changes and the changes in your brains, and with my psychology background, my psychology studying background also had a factor in the things that I've said on this video. And I wouldn't say this video is entirely my research and stuff like that. Obviously everything that I said here is things that we know online and things that were said by other content creators already, but fortunately everything that I said here came from the mother herself, if it is his mother, if it is his 100% mother, because there's too many things that are coming up on these things. So you need to make sure, if you've got a child at home, you need to make sure that you keep an eye on them. You need to make sure that they are psychologically, they are, or brain development, they are developing in a way that they are not going to be bad people in life. But unfortunately also you cannot tell if your sweet child is going to be a bad person, but make it your point that you don't make your children suffer. I understand that you need money, but money is not important when you actually pin it between money and love and parental love and your mother's love and all of those things. Money is not important. It is important for you to be able to raise the child, but I don't know, I advise you to, if you can, to make sure that you raise your own children according to how you would like to see the children flourish in life. So it is not not entirely the mother's fault that Thabo Bester turned out to be like this, because obviously there's a lot of children who grew up within a traumatic environment, but they turned out to be good people and they turned out to deal with their past traumas. So only thing that you can do, if you can afford, please deal with your past traumas, because they will consume you. Thank you so much for watching till this far. Oh my god, this video is too long. This video is too long and people are not going to watch. And I know they are not going to watch, and now I'm not gonna get all this ad stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for watching till this far. Please do me a favor, subscribe, make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it. I'll see you in my next upload. Have a fantastic one. Peace.